Welcome everybody. Yeah, today I have a very interesting build for you guys. Now, I know this is my second build video in a row, but don't worry, I will get back to my normal type of content soon. I'm in the middle of a move right now. My office isn't set up. It's kind of hard to do the old content. So these build videos are fun and easy for me. So, okay, so give it a couple days. We'll be right back to the, normal type of content. But yeah, let's get straight into this build. This build is insane. I'm talking about so insane that you can do around 200,000 damage with just one melee. This build is really good in terms of ad clear, DPS, especially DPS. Like DPS is insane on this build. And then also healing, because throughout this entire build, you're constantly gonna be healing yourself. But first, before I show or talk about any stats, any type of numbers, let me just give you a brief overview of the build, just so the people who don't want to watch the rest of the video can just see exactly what I'm talking about real quick. All right, yeah, this is it for the most part. In terms of weapons, like I said, this build is really nice because you do have a lot of freedom in terms of weapons, but I think I pinpointed two builds with weapons that partner with this build the best. And one's a very high risk, high reward, and the other one is a very low risk, low reward. Of course, this is a Liar's Handshake build. It's kind of hard to make an insane melee build on Hunter without using these things. These things have been in the game for a while and people have made builds with these for a while, but with the recent buffs to Arc Strider, it kind of makes this build even more potent and actually good now, because in the past Arc Strider wasn't the best. Now it's arguably one of the highest DPS supers in the entire game. In terms of subclass, we are going to be abusing the absolute hell out of Top Tree, especially using Combination Blow combined with Combat Flow. What this does is Combination Blow makes it where every time you get a kill with your melee ability, it basically just increases your melee damage for 20 seconds, and it stacks up to 3 times. What Combat Flow does is it allows you with every melee kill to get your dodge back, which is really nice because when running Gambler's Dodge, you just dodge next to an enemy and boom, you get your powered melee back, which allows you to get Combination Blow. That then pairs really well with Liar's Handshake, because what Liar's Handshake does is when using your arc melee ability or being hit by a melee attack, it will allow you to follow up with an extremely powerful melee counterpunch that will heal you. And that is not an exaggeration. Like you don't even punch them when you use this thing. You stab them like from like some Assassin's Creed type wrist blade type shit. Like you completely murk whoever you're about to hit with a melee. In terms of mods, we have Reactive Pulse, Well of Ions, Elemental Charge, High Energy Fire, Melee, Well Maker. In terms of weapons, so I'm gonna talk about the low risk, low reward build because that is what I have in the gameplay in the background. And for that, in terms of weapons, all you really need is one thing, but the rest is up to you. So the only thing that you guarantee need to have is a 1-2 punch shotgun. My recommendations are, if you want it in the kinetic slot, One Small Step is amazing. It is a rapid fire frame and it's super easy to farm. And then a nice energy 1-2 punch shotgun is Found Verdict. Once again, you get that for VOG. It's not the easiest to get, but I mean, if you have spoil saved up, you can just buy a bunch of Found Verdict to get your God roll. So my personal favorite build for the low risk, low reward is One Small Step with Death Adder, just because of the Dragonfly, using Dragonfly spec, and then either switching out between Whisper the Worm or Darcy. Yes, I know these aren't the best weapons nowadays, but I just really wanted a heavy that is easy for long range kills because, these aren't really the best for long range. Now, the high risk, high reward build is going to be the One Small Step, of course, with any kind of bow, anything long range. You can put a scout here too if you want, and then Tractor Cannon. I'm gonna show the gameplay of this build at the end. Yeah, you might shit your pants for the amount of damage you see of a stew with Tractor Cannon equipped. But yeah, that's basically an overview of the full build. I'm actually gonna break down the exact damage boost that every little piece of this build will give, and show you basically how we hit that over 200,000 damage mark. All right, first things first is Combination Blow. I'm gonna go over the stuff just the subclass has in general. With Combination Blow, like I said, all you gotta do is get a powered melee kill and it'll boost your just base melee DPS. Your base melee damage is roughly 7,000. All the numbers I'm gonna give are rounded, but trust me, they're still accurate numbers. So your base melee damage is around 7,000, and with a one-time charge of Combination Blow, it boosts it to 11,000, which is a 57% damage increase. At 2 times charge, you're gonna hit 14,000, which is roughly a 100% increase. And at 3 times charge, your base melee goes from 7,000 to a whopping 29,000, which is a 315% increase. So just like that, just by getting 3 melee kills with your powered melee, you're already boosting your base melee by 300%, which is just crazy. That's just Combination Blow alone, not any of the mods, not any of the perks, not any of the exotics, nothing like that, just Combination Blow. Now, where things get interesting is when you add combination blow with Liar's Handshake. So Liar's Handshake on itself without combination blow basically triples the damage you're doing with your melee. So once again, the way Liar's Handshake works is once you hit someone with your base arc melee, you then power up with like a stab attack and it causes you to do a shit ton more damage. So in this case, that like stab attack does 3 times more damage, which equals 21,000 damage. Now, when you combine Liar's Handshake with combination blow, shit kind of gets crazy. At 1 times charge, Liar's Handshake goes from 21,000 to 34,000, which is a 386% increase from the base 7,000 damage. At 2 times charge, you go from a 7,000 base melee to a 54,000 base melee, which is a 671% increase. And at 3 times, you go from 7,000 to 87,000 damage, which is a 1,143% increase. You just combination blow and Liar's Handshake alone increases your melee damage by over 1,000%. I just can't explain. I don't know how that happens. It's just insane that your melee can do 87,000. And it gets even crazier with when I start introducing mods and stuff. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is our mods. So first things first, this is going to be a charge with light / elemental well build. So the first and most important thing is melee well maker. What this does is every time you get a kill with your powered melee ability, it spawns a elemental well that matches your subclass energy type, which for this build will be arc, because we're using arc strider, of course. The reason why this is important is because with Well of Ions, what this does is whenever you pick up an arc elemental well, it actually causes your next melee to deal increased damage, and that lasts for 10 seconds. The actual damage boost you get from Well of Ions is around 30% damage buff. So without combination blow, without Liars, it'll increase your base melee from 7,000 to 9,000, which might not sound a lot, but that 30% increase will stack with all the other stuff, which then boosts the actual damage an insane amount. Now, these other mods don't necessarily boost your melee damage, but what they will do is kind of help you ad clear / like save your life a lot of the time. The first mod is elemental charge. What this does is you become charged with light by picking up an elemental well, and when that elemental well is the same energy as your subclass, it'll give you 2 stacks of charge with light. And once again, the only way we're making wells is with our melee ability, which will spawn arc wells. We're automatically, every time we pick up a well, we'll get 2 stacks of charge with light. This is important because we're running high energy fire. I'm sure everyone knows what this does. It just basically means when you're charged with light, until you get a kill, your damage is boost. I don't know the exact number. I believe it's like 10% or something like that. But the really important charge with light mod is reactive pulse. What this does is while you're charged with light, when you take damage while surrounded by combatants, you emit like a burst of damaging arc energy, which uses 1 stack of charge with light. So if you see in the gameplay, anytime I'm near a bunch of people and I am charged with light, you'll see like a little wave like push out away from me. Now, this doesn't necessarily do the most damage. It does kill, you know, basic red bars, which is nice. But what it does is it basically stuns every enemy around you, which will then allow you to like counterattack with your melee to build onto the melee build. So it's really good for if you get, you know, overwhelmed by a lot of enemies, allows you to stun them and basically then continue with your attacks and saves your life a lot of the time. And then another important mod is one that's from the seasonal artifact this season. It's called Hands On. Basically what it does, it's very straightforward. You get bonus super energy every time you get a melee kill, which, you know, will cause you to get your super very fast with this, because this build is basically you're going to want to melee almost everything. Now, if you remember earlier, I mentioned healing. So the way you basically heal yourself all the time is once again on Arc Strider. If you're using combination blow, what this does is every time you get a kill with the powered melee, not only does it boost your damage, but it starts health regeneration. You're also healing yourself with Liar's Handshake, because what this does is whenever you use that, like, you know, brawlic stab attack, you're also healing yourself as well. As long as you're meleeing stuff, you're basically healing yourself the entire time, which is extremely nice. Once again, if you look in the gameplay and just stare at my health bar, every time I get a melee, you'll see it go up a little bit. It's saved my life countless numbers of times. Okay, well, that's basically all of the stat boosts that help the low risk, low reward, which when put everything to the max, and like I went to a lost sector and tested on the boss to see just by myself, without any teammates, without any, you know, like bubbles, wells, just by myself, if I'm a solo player, how much damage I can do by using the low risk, low reward. I was able to make my base melee go from 7,000 to 157,000 damage. That is an increase of 2,143%, which is out of this world. The fact that my melee can do 7,000 to 157,000 just like that, super easy, and I don't really have to do much, and I have it all the time. Like, your melee doesn't take ammo, so I can permanently be doing this damage. Now, where shit really hits the fan and gets crazy is this high risk, high reward. The reason it's high risk, high reward is because A, you're going to be doing a bunch more damage with your melee. It'll boost, like I said, for that 157,000 up to 204,000, but you do got to be up in people's faces the entire time. It's kind of dangerous. So if whatever you're doing doesn't allow you to be up in people's faces a lot, you're probably going to die. It's okay though. I mean, hey, that damage is worth it for a lot of people. So once again, this is where this high risk, high reward is where tractor cannon becomes insanely helpful. So basically, the way tractor works is whenever you hit someone with it, it knocks them back, but that's not really what you use it for. You use it because it debuffs the enemy. So no matter whoever you hit, whatever you hit them with is going to do 30% more damage. So I'm gonna play gameplay in the background of me actually fully pulling off this combo and the way you actually get to max damage with the tractor cannon. And the way you want to do it is you hit the enemy with the tractor cannon. You're going to want to switch to your 1-2 punch shotgun, do your base melee, then shoot the shotgun, and then follow up with the heavy liar's handshake attack. And if you do this correctly, your melee alone, that very last melee with the liar's handshake, is doing 204,000 damage. 204,000 damage with just the melee. That's not including the damage you did from the first melee, from the tractor, or the shotgun. Literally just that last melee is doing 204,000, which by the way is an increase of 2,815%. Going from 7,000 damage to 204,000 damage is a 2,815% increase. Out of this world. That's just insane. To put that into perspective, you're doing more damage with one melee than you would be if you would to shoot 7 Xeno shots. Just think about that. That's like, and it doesn't use ammo. You permanently have this melee. Like, I don't get how this is allowed. But yeah, that's basically the whole build. I'm probably just gonna let some, strike gameplay play in the background so you can just watch and fully see what it looks like without me talking over it. If you guys want to see any more builds, I might, honestly, I have a lot of fun with these. They are pretty easy to do as well, and I know you guys like them. My last video is actually doing really good for my standards. So I might, do these weekly and make like them every Saturday or something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But if you guys have any exotics, any weapons you want to see me make a build on, please let me know. And don't worry, I'm getting back to my regular PvP content here real soon. I'm already moved in. I just got to get my office and stuff set up. Once it's all set up, it should be done in the next couple of days. I'll get right back to the content. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. If you made it this far, as always, I love your face, and all you fine ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day.